So right now, like the conversation of why is this person man, why is this person not getting on, blah blah blah, that's irrelevant. Right now, we need to ask ourselves as creators across all of Kick, what the here?
I like that.
Some of the that's being said, joke or not, it's taking like the freedom that we're trying to give and revolutionize on a streaming platform. It's taking that and it's perverting it, manipulating it, and taking it to extremes.
Hey, do you mind if I kidnap that little girl?
Nothing.
Earlier to Cherry, there were these 3 cowboys.
Wait, you're not actually underage.
I am. She is. I'm older than her.
2009.
I was in grade 9 and you were like this. Coming out.
Yup.
You were hotter.
In the world of content creation and media, there are 3 rules. 1, get eyeballs on you by any means necessary. 2, maintain those eyeballs by any means necessary. And 3, remember rules 1 and 2. When you see these cornballs risking life and limb to go viral, they're not just doing it because they're insane. That's part of it, but the main reason is because they're referring to those 3 rules. There's no better example of the strict adherence to the content creation handbook than Jon Zherka. There's no God but fame and fortune to this guy, and he will sacrifice everything from his health, reputation, self-respect, and even friends at the altar of this god. Jon Zherka is a former Twitch streamer and current streamer on Kick. For those of you who don't know what Kick is the Sodom and Gomorrah of the internet. We're talking all sorts of debauchery and degeneracy, from slurs to nudity to violence and even predators. Speak of the devil. If you go on Twitter and look up these 4 letters, in conjunction with Zherka's name, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a video out on the Kick Predator riot law already. Terrible person and personality. Did some of the worst things I've seen on the internet to minors to date, especially on a mainstream platform. But Zherka is riot law before riot law. He created riot law.
She was slurring her words, jumping from one conversation to the next, pausing in the middle of talking just to examine the room.
Listen, I'm not taking Riot's side here, but a 16-year-old girl is still a... That's how I feel about that. So as much as I want to like shit on Riot for being an idiot, it's still a f***ing whore. It's not a human.
Thing consists of just trying to find girls on Omegle. Like, it's literally the main focus of his content for hours on end. And
I made 1 million of these clones.
after going
Every terrible thing riot law has done was either done by Zherka first or inspired by Zherka. Like I said, there's already a well-made video on Riot, and this video isn't on him. Taking a closer look at Zherka, we can break down his streams into a few categories. Category 1, and the most pressing reason as to why I make this video, are what I like to call the pedo streams. Zherka goes on an app called Monkey. The Monkey app is a social platform designed for random video chatting with strangers from around the world. Its main feature is instant video connections, allowing users to engage in spontaneous conversations with new people. The main demographic of people on this website are people younger than 18. I think you can see where I'm going with this. Although Zherka's audience is a bunch of children, I mean, you kind of need to be a child to find this kind of thing entertaining.
Appearance. What is the difference from 16 and 18? And I said, I'll tell you the difference.
He also has a lot of man children in his audience. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't make their ideology and presumed sexual proclivities any more legal. I'm struggling to find which is worse. Maybe you guys can help me in the comments. The fact that young children are being influenced by this guy, or the fact that there are multiple grown men who think this way and enjoy this kind of content. But moving on, Zherka's a 30-year-old man on an app geared towards kids, and with pretty much a wholly kid user base. I'm sure you can imagine how this could be dangerous, but it's not necessarily bad. I mean, if you're interacting with these kids and just trolling, not doing anything suspect. Interactions with older people and children aren't inherently...
No, bro, did someone before call you a pedo?
My 8-year-old girlfriend called me I'm kidding. So, whoa, you guys are cute. Can I add you?
You are pedo, Loki. We're
Shut
16.
up. I'll punch you in the face. Let her
Oh,
talk.
God,
Oh,
I
you're
don't-
actually hot. You look like that singer from Fifth Harmony. What's that bitch?
She's 15.
I don't give a
Well, if you put it like that, the conversation's a little bit different. This guy's main humor is pedo jokes. I say jokes like that because I'm not 100% sure it's a joke. A lot of people in general do this, but especially in these alt-right spaces, they'll say, I'm joking or I'm just kidding, while acting in strict accordance with the way someone who is 100% not joking and 100% isn't kidding would act. It's one thing to make these disgusting jokes to kids of all ages. That's no doubt bad enough. But when he's actually behaving in the way he jokes about when he's IRL streaming, then we have a serious problem and we have to call into question if you're actually joking or not. If you take a look at any of those streams, you won't find a single one where he's not constantly making these pedo jokes, and worse yet, acting like one.
It literally belongs to me.
Stop.
Yeah, get me jumped. Get me jumped like you got Logan jumped. Bring them here.
Stop.
Bring them here to fight. Yeah, this is my house. Get the out of my house. Get the out of my house. What are you doing?
To be clear, all these women in these videos during the IRL streams are 18 plus, but his entire humor is making jokes with pedo undertones and being overtly
Yo, McKinley, you haven't been molested in a while. My Adderall's kicking in. It's time to molest you.
and I don't use that word lightly. I think the whole men are all R-wordist dialogue is super poisoned, and they'll call you one for standing too close to a woman. I'm talking this dude actually will threaten these women. He'll do it overtly, he'll do it subtly, he'll do it physically, he'll do it verbally. Like I said before, I'm keenly aware of the content creator rules. Zherka is 100% behaving this way for views. But some people hear that and hear it's all an act. That is not what I'm saying whatsoever. He's being himself. He's just being even more himself. Many people say money corrupts you. The more accurate saying is money amplifies you. Same thing with fame. The people who get fame and money and behave like idiots, i.e. everyone I've done a video on thus far, were the same way prior to this. The money finally let them be who they truly are without the restraint needing the system, for lack of a better term, brings you. Zherka is another such case. He makes these girls so uncomfortable that the OnlyFans girl covers up on live stream when he's around. You heard me right. The girl who makes money from being uncovered and has the chance to promote to thousands of sad, lonely men and horny children. Literally her target demographic. Opts to lose out on that because she's so afraid of this creep.
Your OnlyFans, she gives great head.
You're literally house hopping, and you're how old?
And I get paid to it, and you got kicked out paying rent, you dumb. Woo! What are you gonna do?
I didn't get kicked
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What the are you gonna do? Yeah, cover up. Cover up. You're only acid. Think your brain is your acid? You fucking dumb block.
Stop!
You're built for getting and dumped. The truth hurts. He's a comedian. No, I'm not. Stop looking for Logan. He's not here.
Zherka also made his way to No Jumper, a podcast hosted by Adam22, and was told this.
An adult performer told me that I should no longer work with you because you were doing rapey things. I don't know how explicitly rapey, but I think she just said creepy things, or you were following
Creepy
someone.
or rapey? Look at this hit piece. This is pathetic.
I don't want to go full
Bite the bullet.
rapey
No,
on you without...
drop the bitch's name and watch this.
I'm
drop
not going to name and shame her. But
yeah, check it out.
It sounds like you've had some strange
Check it out.
I didn't think it could get any worse than an OnlyFans model being creeped out by you, but Zherka once again blows my mind and gets the same reaction from a P-star. If this doesn't illustrate how mentally molested this guy is, I don't know what will. Worse yet, he defends himself by essentially saying, if I was really capable of doing that, I'd have been accused before.
Years working in nightclubs with women, not one incident. 4 years on Twitch, YouTube, not one incident, not one allegation.
Let's pretend his defense wasn't the worst defense possible. Even then, we can't give you the benefit of the doubt because we've seen you in action. We're familiar with your game and your signature move is the creep over. You don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, and giving that would be denying reality. Now, I will say, there is 100% a world in which this woman was just angry at Zherka. I'd actually be inclined to believe that if Zherka wasn't so creepy, but I'm not going to bet on it. You might be asking yourself at this point, why do people even watch it? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. In pursuit of this answer, I had to unfortunately subject myself to hours of his streams, in which nothing is gained. But you see that all demonstrated in what we talked about prior. The sad thing is that's literally it. That's the extent of the entertainment. Harassing women and making pedo jokes. In my videos, I love to try and get into the psychology of people who watch these kind of things. This was especially helpful in the video I made about the YouTube cult leader. I asked myself, who is paying $1,000 a month to a guy who lies about owning businesses? The same process I try and use here. Who is sitting down for 4 hours and watching women get harassed for entertainment, and furthermore sending in donations to validate Zherka? I can only imagine it to be kids who are so sex-starved that this somehow fulfills their need for sexual excitement, and the other half I imagine to be man-children Zherka's age who probably act the same way he does and have the same thoughts as he does, if you're catching my drift. But Zherka's streams aren't only about harassing women, he streams by himself sometimes. And rule number 1 of the content creation handbook, like we went over prior, is get eyeballs. Without creeping on girls, no eyeballs, right? That's what I thought too. But from the watching of Zherka's streams, I found that he actually gives life advice. Yes, you heard me right. The suspected pedo who allegedly does coke and other recreational paraphernalia and creeps on girls half his age is going to teach you how to live. Opening up one of these videos is instantly the same thing pretty much every male self-improvement grifter says. You're broke and poor and lazy, and here's how giving me money will get you out of that.
If you're not gonna freeze. Now, if you're frozen, not in school, no work, no nothing, just feeling bad for yourself, you're not active. And this is the opposite of masculine. That's passive. That's like you're letting the world get you. If you didn't have that experience, it's kind of like an empty book.
One thing that especially stuck out to me was Zherka speaking about how he got famous and the level of intense studying he did in his interviews to get to his level of success. This advice of watching yourself is actually pretty good. He's similar to the cultist in my last video, except dumber. But they both package the obvious truth you're aware about at about 15 years old and make it more palatable. The issue arises when you realize that the interview Zherka is talking about was a dumpster fire. Even if we believe he watches his own streams to become better at podcasting, he sucks at it. His podcast appearances consist of coked out rants, over talking, and just general oral diarrhea for hours.
I'm high value. You're a woman, and I get more DMs from the opposite gender than you. I get more DMs. I get more girls who text me, and you have a hole.
Fucking die alone because you don't respect women.
If I got
on the Bradley Martin podcast that was so successful, no one is watching that interview because of the knowledge we gain from it. It's because you're a train wreck and we can't look away. So much so that the host Bradley Martin had what can only be described as a roid rage induced outburst on him.
Hold on, listen.
Now we get the view.
Hold on, listen.
Listen to what Bradley just said.
Hey,
go ahead.
Shut the fuck up. Listen to what I'm saying.
Why are you getting mad?
Because I'm talking to you right now. Listen. Someone asked me.
And this further added to the dumpster fire that kept the eyeballs on you. His other content is just as bad, if not worse. If you look up Zherka manipulation, you'll see a laundry list of videos of, well, Zherka's manipulation. Ignoring the morality of making such content, I also want to respect the brazen honesty of outright saying, I use manipulation to get women, and here's how you can too. Here's some of his manipulation teachings that he advocates for.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, so should men provide for women, or are we blue-pilled and done with that? They should provide for themselves.
You should provide so you own her, like a dog.
He's just trolling.
No, I'm not trolling.
I'm not trolling there.
I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm not trolling. Bro, if you go up there and take her on vacations, buy her that Louis V bag of shit and say, you can't leave this house, they're not going to leave. They're going to be happy. That's a better life. You have more control. You want control and power, abuse of power on her. If you don't want absolute control over your girl, you're saying to her, I want you to be in an unsafe world. So you should lead with your wallet. You should lead with the largest illusion you can. Like, let's say, if you really want a to fall for you, right? Don't spend a year, all that money on dates for a year, right? The first 2 weeks of meeting her, take her on vacation. This is where you can apply the most amount of manipulation, lead with your wallet. Then you don't ever have to take her on a date and she'll just stay with you because she's bonded over nice vacations, nice lifestyle. You give her this illusion. Then your job is to establish a bond during the illusion. You take the illusion away and say, I'm never spending money on you again. And then they stay. That's the charisma part, right?
So that's pretty sneaky, if you ask me.
Have to be magical. Then you could do whatever the you can beat the shit out of her. She won't leave you. You understand?
See, like that is that bullshit. That's that.
Well, don't beat on her. There. I'm not saying beat on her. I'm saying you have the option.
You're saying how long did that work for Fresh?
You guys.
This video isn't about the red pill as a whole, but I do have to point out that Zherka is saying the silent part about the red pill out loud. If you need to use money to control a girl, what kind of woman are you seeking out? And furthermore, what kind of man are you? That the only and most efficacious way for you to get a woman is by these corny tactics. Alex, the moderator of this debate, points out the nonsense he's trying to use in some cases can work, but the women it's going to work on are the ones you won't want. This is obvious. If you don't know who he's referring to, I have a video on my channel that will give you all the info and more about the little rascal he's talking about. Zherka's counterpoint to this is most men want a year with a Miami thought.
I'll say this, for what most guys want, Fresh actually gets it. He gets 1 year with any chick he wants in Miami. That's what most guys want. So clearly he's doing something right.
Yeah, maybe your viewers who've never had interaction with a girl in real life. Something tells me that archetype will want whatever comes their way. But ignoring that, is that what you're promising? Zherka's horrible advice doesn't just end up manipulating girls. It extends to anything and everything you can imagine. From school, to friends, to family, He offers his expert advice to all. The downfall of Zherka really began just as fast as his rise started. He really got mainstream attention when he went on Fresh and Fit. Originally, he was seen as a 6'5" Albanian coked out Chad who says everything wrong, but the girls were still laughing.
Hey, your dad's gonna want a Gentile in you. That's the truth. Jesus is king, and your dad.
But after a while, you realize the character he's playing, all of a sudden things aren't so funny and begin to get creepy, annoying, and weird. All the jokes he got away with before now didn't hit the same because they weren't necessarily seen as jokes. Slowly but surely, he fell off, obviously still maintaining his audience in his corner of the internet. But the mainstream notoriety every content creator desperately wants slipped out of his hands due to his own actions. Every show he went on, he was just too much. Whether it was Fresh and Fit, a debate panel, or Bradley Martin, he makes an absolute fool of himself.
Sorry.
Okay, there's a dude taking a bullet for his woman. You guys aren't the romantic gender. None of you are the romantic gender. You could take care of a guy financially for 2 years, get turned off, and say he's a bum. We do it for 99 years till the heart explodes in our chest. We take bullets. We get jumped by black. You guys, we do so much for you guys. You guys have never been romantic throughout history, chivalry, none of that. All you guys are is whole. Like, you don't even. Women are half a soul.
Let's let her. You had something that you want to say?
Not like because I'm on TikTok.
He likes to talk about the first time he blew up and fell off. Yes, he's fallen off twice now. Each fall harder than the last. He went on some E-Date, got a bunch of views, but failed to turn into a career for himself. He acts like this is the reason he's known, and when I'd wager 10% of the people who know him because of that. He will literally start interviews off with this fact. Carrying on, after completely falling off, Zherka needed something else to cultivate eyeballs and of course money. His 15 minutes of fame were quickly wearing off, so he just as quickly parlayed his expert dating skills into a course. This course is named Date IQ. Word to the wise here, if you need a course to teach you how to interact with women, it's over with. Like at that point, call it a night. Especially if you're going to go to this guy. Just save your money. Looking at the landing page for the course, we're greeted with Twin Edition of Zherka Date IQ, where him and his twin brother both help me learn to get women. I will preface this by saying Zherka's twin isn't nearly as unhinged as he is and actually has a stable job as a therapist. But moving on, we can see there's a little bit of a promo video in which we get a sneak peek into what our lives will look like once we buy this course. Newsflash, this will never work for anyone who isn't Zherka. Tall, relatively good looking with a modicum of clout and money. This will not work for any girls who aren't Zherka's type, which is the opposite of the kind of woman you'd even want to see for a long-term relationship. Moving along, we see some key points to this course. Direct/dismissive, hot and cold. Very nice. Understand the deep and dark psychological attraction triggers. Interesting. 2 archetypes of men, carnivore and herbivore. What in God's name could this even be referring to? A common theme with Zherka is being schizo. Watching him for this video has been like watching one long schizo post. Just look up his name on Google. Every thumbnail looks like the video could be titled Schizophrenic Man Goes on Incoherent Rant. And once you click on any of these videos, the content backs up the idea tenfold.
Guy donated $5. Hi John, my B-Day number is 11.
Oh God, not this shit, bro.
Year 2000 is that and another 11?
Listen.
Also name adds up to 11 and surname adds up to 22.
If you're
anything special about
no,
me?
only if you're born as a dog are you an 11 on the annual. Like, don't mix it.
Ray81 donated $5. Only came to kick for Zherka. God bless you for all your effort. Christ is king. Second, LP5. Born on October 14.
5 is the most
Zodiac
powerful.
Fire Ox. Advice for career.
Tesla was a 5, okay? I'll tell you this, 5s, I know they live child life, they can do whatever the they want. You guys are winners at anything. And yeah, I think 5s should just read books, bro. I think you guys should like upgrade skill sets because 5s don't read, they're too Chad.
He sounds just like one of those astrology girls who blame them being a terrible person on the fact the moon is in retrograde or because she lost her special stone. This is literally just astrology for man-children. All the same, you can see hundreds, if not thousands of guys every stream giving Zherka all their money to tell them their future, and the rest is filled with incoherent ramblings of the town crazy. The town being YouTube.
She donated $5. December 18, 2005 LP1 Zodiac Rooster Element Fire working on building business from home. Converted to Islam, reached Tyner before want to get back into it again because of
converted to Islam. Where do you think you are? What channel do you think you're at? Do you think I'm going to give you advice? But you said Rooster, Fire, and a 1. You're gonna do good with that shit.
I want someone to translate what was just said. The craziest part of all this to me is people are watching this and presumably nodding their head and thinking, yep, Facts. This is the same guy who purports to be a Christian and proclaims Jesus is king for Christian points online, while at the same time being a lust-controlled drug addict, who unironically believes a far-right weirdo who says he'd rather have an ethno-state than an all-Christian country, and says he would fight with someone more simply based on their skin color if everything else is equal.
That's great, but what if we're living in the same house and there's a fight over, you know, who gets to shower when and who gets this seat on the couch and who? These are the kinds of things that happen in a dense.
Wait, do you think you'd fight with him because he's black over that?
I wouldn't fight about stuff like that. And
I want to hear the answer to Destiny's
Well, yeah.
question.
Would you fight more with a black person over who gets to use the shower?
Yes, and here's why. Because
Very Christ-like, this is what Christians should be seen as. And I'm pretty sure Jesus' main teachings were about how important race is above all. His first sermons were definitely not about telling the Pharisees that they're equal with the Gentiles. It's hilarious to me that these are the same people who proclaim that the cross is always being attacked. For sure it is, but you're part of the attackers. Why do you think people are starting to say the phrase Jesus is king is an anti-Semitic dog whistle? Because losers like Zherka and his idol use it as such. So what was and should be a statement of faith is now increasingly perverted into a statement of hate, and you have no one to blame but Zherka and guys like him. These are the Christians who only use their faith as a shield when needed and a sword to be wielded. This is exactly like white nationalists acting obtuse when people say white power is hateful, and black power or yellow power or anything else in between isn't. Do you think the world arbitrarily made that up, or does it have something to do with the fact that the most popular context in which it was used involved a group with an acronym of 3 identical letters? He claims to read the Bible and be Jesus' biggest fan while promoting numerology, Freemasonry, and black magic. None of it makes sense. All of the people I covered so far to me are very obviously not congruent, but I can see how someone can be fooled. But with this guy, it has to be the case that everyone watching him knows he is deeply unserious and potentially deeply unwell as well. Many of you who have heard of Zherka have probably heard of him from clips like this.
Donald Trump was right about everything.
But I genuinely don't think he's racist. From my watching of his videos and from what I can see, and also what I've heard of his past, he seems comfortable with other people of other races, including but not limited to black people. It just seems he knows who his audience is and he's pandering to them. Again, refer to the content creation handbook like I talked about in the beginning. Anything to get those eyeballs. Although I wouldn't honestly blame him if he was racist and became angry at every colored person. The reason being is because they've been putting the beat on him recently. First, there was Prime, friend of Aiden Ross and relatively skinny, especially compared to Zherka. Neither have a future in boxing whatsoever, but Prime was holding his own at 100 pounds underweight. That was just a precursor to the fight that was a nail in the coffin for Zherka's career. That fight was a lot less of a toss-up as to who the winner was. A fan of both Zherka and the streamer by the name of HStikkytokky ended up asking HS if he'd be willing to fight Zherka and had this to say.
Fight Zherka. I don't think he wants it really, but just tag him on Twitter and tell him I'm in his city and we can go boxer now. BOXR or whatever it's called. Or just fucking, if he actually wants a fist fight, he can have a fist fight as well. But I'd rather box it.
Now, to be fair to Zherka, it's not like HS said, no, I'm not interested in a fight. He was actually down, and furthermore, said it would be a bad idea for Zherka to actually fight him. The issue arises when you listen to what Zherka says, and to say he hit an ant with a sledgehammer would be an understatement.
All right, we got a hit list of people I'm going to KO unconscious this week. 3 in a day, 5 in a day, who knows? Who's number 1? Citrus. Number 2, Cheeser. Number 3, HStikkytokky. Each of them have multiple locations, so I have to go to each one. But I'm going to send one moderator in each one just to stalk. And they're all getting knuckled, though. I'm not doing no slaps, no fucking... Nah, I can eat a 24-hour ban. All right, and we're going to start with HStikky.
To further display to us just how insane this guy is, apparently Aiden Ross offered Aiden Ross money to Zherka and HS. Zherka, of course, declined that money and opted to track down HS and fight him in a street fight wherever he is. In typical Zherka fashion, he was blinded by short-term clout and fame at the expense of longevity of his career and reputation. This response, plus the fact that Zherka is already as obnoxious as it gets, caused many people to want to see Zherka get a severe case of the beats from HS. And HS responded in kind.
Oh boy. This guy.
Let's go. Come here. Camera down. Fuck you mean camera down. You came in to hunt me. Fuck you mean camera down. I'll fuck the shit up. What do you mean camera down? Huh? You came in for this. Who the fuck you hunting? Who you hunting, huh? You come here for me. Get the fuck out of here.
camera down and let's go around the corner now. Let's stop playing games.
You want to freeze? Sit. So freeze. So tell them you're freezing. Hey, tell them you're freezing. I'll give you the first hit. I'll give you the first hit. Let's go.
Listen, bitch. Put the camera down. Put the camera.
Buddy, not in here.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Put the camera down and let's run it now. Let's run it now.
Tell the world watching. Tell the world. Tell the world you're not coming. He came from the UK to hunt me down and beat me up. So do it then, bro.
Listen.
I one-shot you, Bob. I one-shot you. I one-shot you. Why camera? Why camera? Why camera?
Hey, chill, boys. Hey, chill.
It's actually quite interesting to see the difference between Zherka and someone who actually thinks past the next 30 seconds. HS, after getting a glass thrown at him and his girlfriend, doesn't just blindly start swinging, although I think we'd all agree he'd be justified in doing so. He tells Zherka, turn off the camera so we can handle business. He didn't care about anything being recorded for clout. He cared about handling business and not going to jail and getting deported. The whole time, Zherka is posturing for his fans saying, say you're scared, over and over again. It's almost as if he's used to people seeing his tall frame and his coked out behavior and backing down because they're scared, when in reality, it's probably more they see him as a crash dummy with nothing to lose and shouldn't bother fighting him. Luckily, for Zherka haters everywhere, he got manhandled in a more obvious ass whooping than Garcia versus Haney. After the fight, there was a rare few days of silence from Zherka. No psychotic tweets, rants, posts, no schizo videos, just silence. At least from him. Everyone else, however, was talking about how the internet tough guy got shown what's up in the most satisfying of ways. When we finally did hear back from Zherka, he said this.
Same morphine, same nurses, and they looked at me like, why? It's only been a couple of weeks since you tore this shit up. Why did you do it again?
The utmost of cope. It's clear to everyone that he lost brutally and is trying his hardest to do damage control now that his facade of being a big, strong fighter has been thoroughly debunked. When it comes to this internet thing, like I said, there's rules. Where Zherka went wrong is that he did too much and ended up in lolcow territory. Sadly, there's no exit off lolcow road once you start driving down it. The fall from grace was not just predictable, but quite tragic if you think about it. If you look at the comments on Zherka's first appearances, the way fans receive Zherka is a lot different than he's received now. Zherka's story stands as a stark lesson in the perils of wasted potential. Given the chance to rise to prominence with the support of notable figures like Destiny, Fresh and Fit, he instead allowed his lack of self-awareness, stubbornness, and immaturity to steer him off course. By catering to an audience of sexually frustrated men and race-obsessed man-children, Zherka not only shattered his fragile image, but also obliterated any slim chances of redemption. His journey highlights the crucial need for self-awareness and maturity in sustaining success and influence. Jon Zherka, if nothing at all, serves as a cautionary tale for anyone on the brink of opportunity. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you got this far, you clearly like video essays and commentary videos, specifically mine. So if you want more, subscribing is free. Until next time, peace out, y'all.